Welcome to the Power of Design podcast. My name is Jack Osa. I'm an architect, born and raised in Colombia, South America. Years ago, I migrated to the United States to follow my dreams, and today, I'm the founder and principal of OSA Studio, a multidisciplinary architectural design firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. In this podcast, we talk about design, business, creativity, and the inspiration we need to create an exciting and powerful built environment. In today's episode of the Power of Design podcast, I talked to an architect that I admire very much. His name is Darrel Williams. Darrel is the founding partner and owner of Neighboring Concepts, an architectural design firm in Charlotte, North Carolina. A firm that is committed to transforming communities through thoughtful and sustainable urban planning, as well as innovative and responsible design solutions. I was very inspired by Darrel's story. Being the only African-American architect in multiple firms, Darrel experienced what it's like to be overlooked, but his passion and confidence to believe in himself took him through an exciting and inspiring journey of growth and progress. Darrel is a fellow of the American Institute of Architects and created a legacy of design excellence to improve his community for years to come. This is my conversation with Darrel. Hey Darrel, welcome to the Power of Design podcast. How are you today?
I'm fine. Hope you're good.
I'm excellent. Darrel, you have an incredible career building an architecture firm that transforms communities through the power of design. Why are you so passionate about using architectural design as a catalyst to improve not only buildings but our society?
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with my background and where I came from. I stumbled into architecture, and a lot of young African-American kids don't generally have the opportunity to learn about architecture. And I was one of those kids, and I didn't know about it, and I just stumbled into it. And it's because of where I grew up, how I grew up, why I care so much about how architecture could influence communities.
Sure.
That's why I'm so passionate about it.
Yeah.
I know it really can and does really make an impact.
Yeah. What do you think was that first memory of understanding or realizing that architecture is there and it was an interesting topic for you to keep looking
I
forward
wish
to?
I knew now what I knew. I wish I knew then what I know now.
Yeah.
About architecture. Even though my father was a brick mason, my grandfather was a brick mason, my uncles, all those who I grew up around, the males older than me were brick masons. And I never connected, construction to design.
Right.
Until I stumbled up on Southern University campus one day after I was inspired to consider college. I wasn't even considering going to college.
Yeah.
And I was up there one day and I saw a young man that grew up in my neighborhood, and he was actually majored in architecture. And he took me up to his studio. And when I saw his studio, I saw what they were doing. And I did a little research on architecture. And that's when all the dots were connected.
Sure.
That's when I was able to understand the drafting and artwork that I did in high school, the artwork that my mother was always an artist.
Yeah.
She was a self-taught artist. She was also always drawing.
Sure.
And then I took all these drafting classes in high school, and then growing up doing nothing but construction. So I never really connected those until I went into that studio. Once I did that, I knew right then that I was destined to be an architect.
Yeah, that's amazing. So at that point, you enrolled in an architecture school, and tell me about those education years.
Yeah, I graduated. So I went to Southern University. It was, even though I wasn't planning on going to college, it was only a couple of miles from where I grew up. And they allowed me to go back and take classes that I should have taken in high school. Schools in Louisiana were integrated when I was in the 8th grade. And, unfortunately, we were not prepared for that. The African American students weren't prepared, and the white students were not prepared. The teachers were not prepared. They just sort of put us together
Yeah.
without any diversity training or understanding of the various races. And it was a challenge. And so, not only did I not grow up in a family of individuals that went to college, that I didn't hear a lot about college growing up. I didn't get it in high school either. So they allowed me to take whatever courses I wanted to take, which I picked, drawing and drafting and art and a lot of easy courses. So when I decided I wanted to go to college, when I went to Southern University to talk to them about majoring in architecture, they basically told me I wasn't prepared for college. And so they allowed me to go back and take classes that I should have taken in high school
Sure.
on top of my architectural classes. So I just had to work extra hard
Yeah.
to keep up and to learn and catch up to where I need to catch up to major in architecture. So, and after 5 years, I graduated the most outstanding student in my class. It wasn't because I was smarter than everyone. It's because I realized I had potential.
Right.
And I just worked harder than everyone else.
Yeah. No, that's amazing that you went through that process, and maybe you didn't have somebody that have done it before or showing you how to do it.
That's right.
But I think the key word is what you say, potential.
That's right.
Because when you realize of your own potential,
Mm-hmm.
you know that you need to be disciplined, you need to work hard, and then that potential is gonna materialize.
Exactly.
And when I came to this country 20 years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even speak English,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember, I used to work at a restaurant and as a busboy, and I used to come uptown and look at the buildings and look at people, and I said, man, one day I would love to be like them and do these things, but I didn't know how.
That's right.
And that will made me be a really good busboy. And I said, how do I do this? Find things out, finding the way. I think when you realize and you're confident that you'll figure it out, that's a huge tool that you have, because
That's right.
you're not depending on anybody else.
Exactly.
You gain
Exactly.
self-confidence, and you just go ahead and make things happen on your own.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, all you need is that confidence and self-esteem, to know that you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So you go through your, architectural education, you finish your career. Tell me about that first step toward, working, being a professional.
After my second year in school, I had an uncle in California, and I wanted to go out to Long Beach, California to stay with my uncle and my cousins. And I was planning to go there and get a job, And so I went and never had never, worked in a firm before. And they really, when I went and started looking for a job, I found out that I had not studied the right type of things in school to be able to get a job.
Yeah.
We had not done working drawings or construction drawings at the time in second year. And that's what those firms I talked to, that's
Sure.
what they wanted me to do.
Right.
And so after my second year in school, I stayed there that whole summer. And of course, I didn't get a job. I had to have my father sending me money. And I stayed there. But after I got back, I talked to my professors at school. And because of that experience, they included a construction drawings class in third year.
Sure.
And so, of course, I took the class in third year. And after my third year, I went and actually was able to get a job in Louisiana, working. And then after my fourth year, I went to Colorado with my girlfriend, and she had a job there for the summer. And so I was able to get a job for 3 months in Denver working
Nice.
for a firm because of the experience of showing that I can do construction drawings
Sure.
and working drawings.
Yeah.
So I got that experience. And then during my fifth year, I worked the entire year while I was in school at a firm in Baton Rouge. So I got a lot of experience working in firms before I graduated.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which really helped me to get a better understanding of what type of architect that I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Because the firm I worked at in Baton Rouge, we did we were able to team with other firms. On one project, we teamed with a firm who this guy, the architect who we teamed with, was a real strong designer. He didn't do construction documents. So the firm I worked for had to produce the construction documents. And I saw the friction between the designer and the firm. And then I understand that, there was a lot of friction and concerns. But what I realized is that it helped me to understand that I wanted to be an architect that can design and make sure that I know how to put the drawings together to build a building. So that helped me to really understand that I wanted to be a generalist. I wanted to really understand architecture comprehensively. And be able to take a project all the way through, from design all the way through construction. So that's what that really helped me in my early years working at those firms. I did not want to be an architect that's just designed and sent it to someone else to try to make it work.
That's exciting, and I'm glad to hear.
And I saw the struggle. And I saw the struggle with the firm I was working for. They had a challenge dealing with this designer, while we were trying to produce the project.
I'm glad you said the word generalist, which is a word that sometimes people think is negative. I think the in modern professional world is everything about specialization. You're good at this, you're a designer, you're a project manager, you do this, you do that, which I understand the concept. However, we have been created with an amazing mind and potential and talent that we could be very decent at multiple things.
That's right.
Those limitations, they're in our mind if we accept those limitations. So that's one of the things that I enjoyed since I started my own businesses. I enjoy designing, I enjoy doing my accounting, and I'm enjoying doing my construction documents, CA. There's some areas that I'm strong, some are not, and you can refine who you are as a professional. But we have the potential to really execute at any level if you believe it.
That's correct.
Great. So you gained some experience at that firm. You're still in Louisiana. Tell me about the next step.
And then it was quite a challenge because I worked I graduated in 1979. I moved to Charlotte in 1983, 4 years later after I left Denver. And when I got here, I had worked for, I think, 5 firms, right? Even though I had been out of school for 4 years. And that was because, the type of experience that I was getting, I wasn't satisfied. So I kept moving until I got the right type of experience based on the type of architect that I wanted to become. And so, I was very frustrated. Of course, I worked in a firm in Denver that had 120 people, and the only 2 blacks were myself and the receptionist. And so I had to work in that environment, and it was a challenge because I saw my colleagues who had no more experience than I had having the opportunity to work on more exciting and more fun type projects versus what I had to do. And so that happened, in several places I worked. And then it wasn't all about race because I also had a chance to work for 2 African-American architects when I was in Denver. But again, it was the type of work that I really were not that excited about. It wasn't the type of work that most architects were doing. It was the type of work that small minority architects get to do because they don't get the opportunity to do anything else. So it was those kind of projects. And so when I got to Denver, I worked for another firm here. And I had similar experiences. And so when I met Harvey Gant, and I went and joined Harvey Gant Huberman Architects, Harvey Gant and Jeffrey Huberman, that's when it reinvigorated my interest in architecture. Because I was beginning to wonder if I picked the right profession. That's how I was feeling at the time, And so working at Gant Huberman, they gave me the opportunity to learn every aspect of the profession, from programming early on in the project with the client, going through schematic design, conceptual design, design development, construction documents, and construction administration.
Yep.
So having that opportunity to learn every phase of the architecture profession really, really helped me.
Nice.
And it also helped me is when I made that connection with community, because of course everyone knows that Harvey was the first African-American mayor here in Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Harvey and Jeff, both of them, always promoted community involvement. You know, get involved in your community. You know, it's not just about architecture. And so they encouraged that among all of our employees, the staff, and it inspired me. You know, I mean, it really helped me to really get a better understanding of how the talent that we have as architects can make such a big difference within our community. You know, we have such broad understanding and experiences of a lot of different things, and we have a lot to offer. And I realized that when I ran for county commission in 1993. I ran and won an elective office seat with the Board of County Commissioners here in Mecklenburg, and I served for 8 years. And so that, again, sort of emphasized why architects need to get involved in committees and boards and neighborhoods, churches, and running for political office, because we have a lot to offer.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. I think the way we think and solve problems, you know, the design process is very interesting. And sometimes we take it for granted because that's what we do every day in projects. But we don't realize that when we take that thinking in a different setting and different scenario, that's innovation.
That's right.
People don't have that structure in their mind. They don't know how to see it. And sometimes we have ways to solve the problem through a different way, a different avenue, and even develop a structure to solve a problem.
Exactly.
You know, the steps and solve it, complete it, then you go to the next one. That's definitely something that we have that there's a huge advantage and should be applicable to that. Awesome. So you're at Gan Huberman, gaining all this experience, you know, gaining all your energy back. Tell me about that point where you start, you know, thinking and realizing that you want to have your own firm.
Well, you know, Gan Huberman, while they did a lot of projects that impact the community, and they encouraged employees to get involved in the community, I still felt like something was missing based on the neighborhood I grew up in, where there were ditches on both sides of the streets. We did not have a park to play in. We had to play in the streets. We didn't have a rec center. We didn't have football field. We had to play football in the streets. You know, so growing up in that environment, it really began to, and then when I got on the Board of County Commissioners, and the areas and neighborhoods that I represented was just like the neighborhoods I grew up in. And that's when it began to bother me. I said, what else could I do as an architect to really make a difference in my community? I enjoyed working on university campuses, you know, designing buildings, but I struggle with there's something else that I need to be doing. You know, the fact that God allowed me to stumble into this profession, knowing where I came from, I need to be able to make a difference, a bigger difference than just being another architect designing buildings. So that's when I was able to connect that, because the county deal with human services. You see, the city focused more on infrastructure, sidewalks, streets. And so I began to understand human services and how they impacted these communities and these kids. And, you know, so I was trying to figure out how to use my architecture profession to take it to another level based on getting inspired and allowing myself to learn a lot more about architecture while working at Gan Huberman Architects. So that's where the whole neighboring concepts idea came from. I had two of my friends who were my former partners. We started the firm together, Chris Ogunrendi and Michael O'Brien. We all lived in the same neighborhood. And so we started doing plans for neighborhoods. We just started, working on going into these physically and socially challenged communities and developing plans. And the first plan we did was in Third Ward, where we all lived within a block from each other.
Yeah.
So we started working in Third Ward, and the Gateway Village development that took place by Bank of America. That was all done without engaging with the planning department, Mecklenburg County City Charlotte Planning Department, and working with the community. And that helped us, going through that process, helped us to understand why it's important for communities to have plans.
Sure.
To be able to come together, decide what they want their community to be, and to come up with a plan and a vision to help implement the vision.
Sure.
So that's and one thing I realize is that architects solves problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes several individuals, partners, and collaborators to make a project successful, whether it's electrical engineer, mechanical, plumbing, structural, civil. Well, when you look at a neighborhood, it's the same thing. It's the same process.
Right.
When you look at a lot of social and physical challenges within the neighborhood, you've got several individuals who can be a part of helping to make that neighborhood better. And so it's if you don't have a plan, you don't know what to do. So we started doing plans, working with the community, making sure they were engaged in the decision making that came out of those plans. Because once those plans are done, if they were involved in developing those plans, then they have ownership in it.
Right.
And they're going to make sure it happens, whether we're there or not.
Yeah.
And so that's how it all started. We started getting involved in working with a lot of neighborhoods. And fortunately, the city of Charlotte saw the value in what we were doing. And it wasn't much money, but they started paying us a few dollars to help these neighborhoods. And we did a plan for the neighborhood I live in, Wesley Heights, thanks to former Superior Court Judge Shirley Fulton, who was one of the first pioneers in Wesley Heights, who was able to encourage the city to provide some funding for us to develop a plan.
Yeah.
And so that's where it all started. And then we started doing some development to help implement our plans. We started a small development company, and we started implementing the plans we were doing. And then when 9/11 happened, it really changed everything.
Right.
We had to go back and start looking at things a little different. And we had to get into doing more traditional architecture to pay the bills because the planning wasn't doing it.
Right.
And so we started doing more traditional architecture, and then we started growing as a firm. And of course, I had another partner I had was Luis Tachika. You probably know him.
Yeah, I know Luis.
So we added Luis later. And then, of course, over the last 3 years, we've evolved into the firm we are now.
Yeah.
Where those guys have moved on, and we continue to evolve as a firm. We got about 20 people, and Luke Volkmar and Daniel McNamee are close to becoming partners in the firm. They've been with me for a long time.
Yeah.
And without them and our staff that we have, we wouldn't be having the success that we have right now.
The Power of Design podcast is brought to you by OSA Studio, a multidisciplinary design firm focused on creating impactful experiences through the power of design. We partner with our clients to create buildings, interior spaces, brands, and strategies that help you deliver a successful project. As a minority-owned firm, we are committed to building a diverse platform of curious and driven design professionals so we can together pursue our full potential. For more information, please visit us at www.osastudio.com.
Tell me about the type of projects you're working on today and, who your clients are.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have a variety of different types of clients and projects. I think that we have been very fortunate to, of course, work with Mecklenburg County. We've had a chance to work on several projects with the county, several recreation facilities, different types of projects. And we've also had a chance to indirectly work with the city. We worked on the transit line. We've become one of the few architects who become very, very good locally here in designing transportation type projects.
Oh, nice.
We were involved in the Blue Line, the initial Blue Line that happened along South Boulevard, and we were involved in the Blue Line extension that goes up to UNC Charlotte, including the parking decks associated with them. And now we're involved in the Silver Line. And even before all that, we were involved in the trolley.
Right.
Charlotte had a trolley that ran about 2 miles long. And so
Yeah.
we were involved in that initially. But that work, it wasn't a lot of architecture. It was more engaging with the community.
Right.
More than it was architecture, because architecture was just a shelter.
Sure.
And so again, we got involved in all those type projects, and then and over after several years, we got involved in doing a lot of housing. We do a lot of multifamily, a lot of affordable. We get involved in doing a lot of master planning. I think we've been associated with every public housing project in some way here in Charlotte. Every one of them that's been revitalized and redeveloped. We've been involved, and the most recent one is Renaissance, that was formerly Boulevard Homes, where we helped develop a master plan for the project, and the city was able to get the housing authority, and the city was able to get the last Hope 6 grant under that particular name. That was one of the highest scoring projects that we were able to that came from HUD at the time. And fortunately, we were able to hook up with Dion Nelson, who's with Laura Street. Laura Street Residential, who's a developer here in Charlotte. And they've really given us an opportunity to do a lot more housing projects and to learn. We've learned along the way, how to be a good designer as it relates to meeting all the requirements of affordable housing.
Yeah.
And we've also had a chance to do some market rate housing. So yeah, the fact that we're involved with transportation projects, recreational, community-related type projects, a lot of planning. We've just finishing up a master plan for John C. Smith University, updating their master plan. And we've also gotten involved in doing some medical facilities. We've designed, Michael Jordan contributed around $7 million or so to help Novant, build two community clinics in the neighborhoods, And so, again, we didn't have a lot of healthcare experience.
Yes.
But Novant invited us to participate because of our connection to the communities where these facilities were going. And so filling the gap to make sure we took care of the expertise needed for the healthcare piece, that was easy.
Sure.
So so since then we were able to do more work for Novant. Right now they're looking at doing. Michael Jordan is contributing some funds for 2 additional health clinics in Wilmington, where Michael Jordan grew up. And so those projects are just getting started, looking at locations for sites and so forth. So those will be the next 2 projects we're doing for Novant regarding the Michael Jordan clinic. And then we're doing some work for Atrium as well. We've had a chance to get involved in some healthcare work with Atrium. So we're learning a whole nother area of the profession. And while we make sure we utilize the expertise that we've learned over the years to improve all these other type projects that we're doing.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. I can really see that same attitude and thread you had, at the beginning of your career, and you become interested about architecture, and you look at things here, you look at things there, like what your gaps were professionally, and you weren't to find those gaps, and you were not afraid to go into places where you were unique or the first one. That's exactly how the firm is run. It's very interesting. The diversity. Most people are always very scared to do projects they haven't done before. They're like, oh no, we haven't done it before. No, I'm a residential architect. No, I only do churches. And that's one thing that, at least for me culturally, where I'm from Colombia, architects, they do all type of building types. If you don't know the specific technicalities, well, there is a consultant. You're gonna find somebody who's gonna help you cover that. But space is a space, and buildings are buildings, and construction techniques, they're all very similar. That's what really matters, that you understand how to use a space. So I think it's very exciting, because that's an attitude that you have, and it just transpired through the firm. Say, okay, we haven't done it, great, but we can learn. We have the confidence in ourselves that we can learn it.
Yeah, and what helps is that we have no problem teaming with other firms. What we don't do is go out and act as though we know something that we don't know.
Right.
So we have no problem teaming and partnering with other firms. And every time we do, we learn something. We learn something new.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that's what gives us the confidence. When we're able to work and learn and take baby steps and learn how other firms do things and how certain building types needs to be looked at as far as design. We take advantage of that. And we able to learn, so that next time maybe we are good enough to be able to do a certain type of building on our own.
Sure. Yeah. Tell me about your day-to-day role today in the firm, and what would you like to see the firm to become in the next 10, 20 years?
Well, my role with the firm is overall management of the firm, along with business development. I get to manage a couple of projects, but not many. Again, I'm very fortunate to have partners like I said, Daniel McNamee and Luke Volkmar, along with our incredible staff. We've just got some people that, they're as passionate as I am about the work that we do, and so that's what makes this firm work. And I think that the future, as it relates to the future, I'm 64. I'll be 65 on Christmas. And so I've been working on, transitioning out of the firm, and that I'll be doing over the next few years. And it's great to have leaders like Luke and Dan, who's been with me for a while, and they really understand what we do and why it's important. And they bring a lot to the firm. They're great guys, and they really help to inspire and motivate our other staff as well. I think that, and we just had another young lady join our firm, Kathy Morrison.
Oh yeah,
who
Kathy.
Was also at Gant Huberman. She's very talented. Very great, a great person, great architect. Tremendous amount of expertise and experience to bring to the firm. And again, she allows us to continue the diversity that we have here. Because I strongly believe that diversity is power. I think when you have people of different backgrounds, different experiences, different ages, gender, are able to engage in a particular project, I think it brings a lot of additional experiences to that project that makes it a better project.
Sure.
And so we strongly believe that, and we try to make sure we bring diversity to every project we get involved in, and take advantage of the diversity we have here in the firm. And Kathy is going to help to continue that strong diversity.
She's always been, for sure, a leader in the community. She's always been involved with AIA, Board of Architecture. I always see her doing something.
That's right.
Beyond just being an architect and a mom, and that she's a great addition to your team, man. Congratulations.
Now Frank Little is here from Gant Huberman also. He's working on some schools, and as a former county commissioner, because at the time I was on the board, my firm could not design schools because the county funded the schools. And so fortunately, after Frank, after Gant Huberman was acquired by Bergman, we were able to get Frank to come over. and Frank is a K through 12 expert. So fortunately, because of that, we've been able to get to do some Charlotte-Mecklenburg schoolwork. So we're designing a brand new elementary school right now for Charlotte-Mecklenburg. So that's another project type that my firm really did not have a lot of expertise in. But we're gaining that expertise now. We brought in some additional staff, and now we're able to get involved in designing schools.
Interesting. Yeah. How do you think technology has been impacting, our profession since, I guess you've been living through every single change?
Yeah, it's amazing. I tell you, it's amazing how far we've come. I tell the folks here that I'm probably not going to learn anything new as it relates to technology.
Yeah.
So, and they got this thing they call Bluebeam and all these other type systems, and but it has changed. It has pretty much left us older guys left us by. They just moved on, and so it continues to evolve, and I think that from the way we handle meetings, from how we handle construction projects, to how we design the buildings, everything is impacted by technology, and it's not going to stop.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's going to continue.
Sure.
And so, but I think it's something about a young kid who grows up with a computer in his hand at 2 years old.
Yeah.
And these little phones and computers,
Uh-huh.
and this future is for them.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they grow up learning and knowing technology, and I think it's probably going to go even faster, move on faster, and evolve even more over the next few years than it has done in the last 40 years.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. I have three children. They're 12, 9, and 5.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing to see, they're engaging with technology so early that their brain already knows exactly what to do. And
that's
even
right.
my youngest, without even knowing how to read, he can go and find something in an iPad or in a phone. It's just intuitively they know how to operate the machine. Yeah, it's mind blowing how does that work. What would you think is the biggest challenge that your clients are facing today?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is the volatile construction prices.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think with the pandemic and all the other things that we've been dealing with, the one thing that I think has been impacted the most is being able to have a good understanding of what will it cost to build a building.
Yeah.
And whether it's wood, steel, concrete, those prices are all over the place right now. And I tell you, contractors will tell you that they will not hold their prices longer than 30 days.
Yeah.
Because it's going to change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that makes it tough for a client, who try to figure out what it's going to cost to build a building, and they can't get a black and white answer, because 6 months from now, 8 months from now, you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest challenge that we're dealing with right now with our clients.
Sure.
Is being able to project construction costs.
Yeah, and time also. Because,
that's right.
Lead times.
Exactly.
They're like 12 weeks, 16 weeks, and you're like, man, even if it's the same price, time is money.
That's right.
That also
That's
makes a huge difference on
exactly.
what people are doing. How do you see the design and construction industry evolving in the future?
Well, I think it's going to, as I said, I think it's going to continue to evolve. I think that, construction, when we think about, I can see drones becoming normal doing construction administration.
Yep.
I can envision 3D printing of certain building components.
Sure.
That goes into the building. I remember several years ago I heard a presentation, and they were saying that if architects do not keep up with what's going on and with technology, that at some point we're going to become obsolete. because they eventually they may be able to do a 3D printing of a whole building.
Oh yeah.
So that's coming. And so I think it's going to continue to evolve. I think that a lot of changes, a lot of things we do now, even though they're different from the past, I think they're going to be even more different than what we're doing right now regarding technology. Because building materials keep changing, things continue to change and evolve, and I think it's going to be a lot of technology that continue to change. That's going to impact design and construction.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be exciting, and we need to think about what the role of the architect is in society, because that's what really matters. The community part. No computer can do that.
That's right.
Connecting humans, connecting
Exactly.
ideas,
That's
connecting
right.
concepts. Creating spaces for people and communities to grow and thrive. That there's no computer who can do that, and sometimes we focus too much on the tool. The computer or the drafting table or the drawing, and that's just a tool to get to the architecture part.
That's exactly
which is
right.
the exciting one. I can even envision people will go online and download a building file and print the whole building, off the shelf, but then there's no thinking behind it.
That's right.
And I think when the architect realized that what we really bring to society is the problem solving aspect, to develop spaces for specific uses, and there's no machine that will replace that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I think when I first started seeing building information modeling and all the other systems that allow us to do our job better, more efficient, and with less, I guess, problems during construction.
Yeah.
I saw that as an opportunity for us to spend more time engaging with people and the community, and because the architecture is going to take care of itself. So, I think that becomes more important, and making sure that what we design is beneficial, to the community. That is it's not a negative, because it's not neutral. It's either going to be positive or negative. Yeah. And so the key is to make sure that we engage with people and make sure that they have ownership in what is being created, so that they can own it. And I think that becomes really important. Yeah. And I think so that was my hope when I still think that that's possible. I think less dealing with how to produce a project, and more making sure that what we produce works and it improves our community.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. What advice would you give me that I have a firm that is 4 years old. We're a minority-owned firm. I feel that, we've been working really hard, gaining traction, showing people that, we're for real. And, going through all the ups and downs of having your own firm and competing against other ones. Sometimes I lose to bigger firms because people say, well, how many people, or show me your office. And I'm like, man, I feel stuck. What advice would you give me to, continue growing and follow that path that I see you have taken? And I'm like, man, I want to do that. It's so exciting.
Well, I tell you, when you told me you were from Colombia,
the
one person I thought about was Willie Stewart. You know Willie?
Oh, yeah, I know Willie. Yeah. He was in the podcast.
Yeah. Willie is a good friend.
Yeah.
And I always tell him that he's the only white boy I know named Willie. And it's spelled Willy. But yeah, Willie, when you mentioned that, I thought about him because I've seen how his company has grown.
Oh, yeah.
Over the last several years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've grown, and continue to do well. So I was, I wanted to make sure that you connected with him first when you asked that question. But I think that, I guess it all depends on where you want to be.
Sure.
Some folks, I mean, this is the largest we've ever been, over 25 years, and I don't think we ever desired to have a 40, 50 person firm.
Right.
And so I think part of it depends on planning for what you want.
Yep.
I think that's number one.
Yep.
Do you want to be 100 or do you want to be 10? You know, and being able to plan to make that happen. You know, and then being able to strategize how to get there.
Right.
You know, and I think of course they always look at how many people you have.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's where being able to partner and team with other individuals, where you can bring something to the table, and allow you to work on different types of projects that you may not be able to get, you know, as a sole proprietor working by yourself.
Right.
So I think it's a matter of understanding where you want to be,
Yep.
planning to get there, and regardless of, you know, where you want to be, I think teaming and partnering with other firms to work on larger projects that you may not be able to get on your own.
Sure.
And we still do that. We got 20 people, but we still team. We still partner.
Yeah.
You know, because we like working on big, exciting projects as well as working on small projects that really impact the community. And so, but yeah, we try to make sure we do that. So I think being able to you know where you want to go, and to come up with a strategic plan.
Yeah.
To get there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, and that's something I'm working on this year. I'm doing a program through the SBA called Emerging Leaders, when they help you understand just basic business foundational concepts, you know, strategy, marketing, finances, you know, getting all that business side to me has been one of the, you know, at the beginning you focus so much on doing the work that you realize that, man, you still need to sell. You need to have a strategy. You need to understand the numbers. So I'm getting all that education. You know, this year has been a big push on that to really equip myself more as a business owner rather than an architect, to really understand what kind of structure I need to take, you know, have in place in order to pursue that goal that I want to get to.
Well, that's important. That's important. I think the more important is knowing what you don't know. You know, and knowing what you need to do to get it, you know, and because that becomes really important. Is being authentic and being honest. You know, I think honesty and integrity, you know, means everything.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think it's people see you as being genuine and caring and compassionate, and you have integrity. I mean, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have all that other stuff, but if you screw that up, I mean, there's no hope for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Darrel, thank you so much for your time today. I'm very thankful for the opportunity that, you know, that you received me here in your beautiful office. I admire what you're doing. I'm very inspired by what you're doing, and I look forward to, you know, stay connected.
Well, thank you for what you're doing. I mean, I think sharing stories like this, you know, with others to hopefully inspire others that if someone like me, a country boy from Baton Rouge, could become an architect become a fellow in American Institute of Architects and win a gold medal in the state of North Carolina, you know, that means they can do anything.
That's right. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Power of Design podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review if you like this content. And find us online at thepowerofdesignpodcast.com. I invite you to join my mission to become a better version of yourself through the power of design.